Hi guys, welcome to another beer review. Special guest, Creepy Teddy Bear's looking right into your soul right now. And today we're going over to Azvex out of Liverpool. And this is a can of Slow Gear, which is the Helles Lager at 4.8% ABV. Does it have any additional information? Nope, it doth not. So picked this up from the tap room in Liverpool when I was out with Adam from Mose Beers and Craig from Kent Beer Reviews. Lovely, lovely tap room, and obviously they've got the brewery in the back, and I love that sort of tap room. Yeah, it's up there with the likes of like Daya, Track. I know this brewery isn't exactly in everyone's good books, but Magic Rock, these big open industrial spaces, and yeah, it was wonderful. I had some fantastic beers and picked up a few cans, so get in there, D-lad. And yeah, so Slow Gear got a teeny bopper with a pedal. Not sure if Slow Gear is a reference to a specific band or song. And Slow Gear, as someone who lives in Skem, I know where you can get better gear than that, but we won't go into that, will we? Anyway, that was a terrible, terrible attempt at trying to insert some humour into what is probably going to be a really boring video, so happy days. So yeah, anyway, I've only really ever had stouts and IPAs, pales, double IPAs from Azvex, so I'm rather intrigued to see how they do a lager. And I will say beforehand that Adam did tell me that, I don't know if he had it on can or on tap at the brewery prior to our visit, but he says it was a tiny bit buttery, so we'll see if that comes through on this. But beer in the glass then, and yeah, it looks exactly like you would expect a Helles Lager to look like. Nice and golden, tiny bit darker. Well, not dark, but you know what I mean, a little bit more robust looking than a regular sort of lager. Just a lining of soft white head. I know I've not exactly got the best form of glassware for a lager, but I've been using this Track glass for quite a while now. I don't know why I didn't pick up a Teku glass from Alpha. I say Alpha Delta because the logo's to me quite similar. Azvex. Don't know if there's like a little bit of a thing going on between Azvex and Alpha Delta. I'm sure someone was telling me that. Who cares? Not here to sling shit at anyone. I'm just here to enjoy beer. Yeah, we went to Azvex, then we went to Carnival, and then we went to Dead Crafty, and it was a lovely few hours. And then the following day we did Indie Man. I went to Cloudwater and Track, and yeah, it was a good drinking weekend with good people, if not the best people. And I was randomly talking to people outside of Cloudwater. I think he used to work for Cloudwater, and we had a mutual disliking to a certain beer writer who shall remain nameless. Anyway, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be, it's not even evening. I've had a day off, so I've decided to crack open a few beers, as you do. It's got exactly what you expect from a Helles Lager. Subtle aroma, a little bit biscuity. There's a little bit of breadiness coming through. I'm sure this is only because of the conversation I've had about the lager with Adam, but my mind, it's not telling me no. My mind is telling me that there's a sweetness there, a sweetness that doth not belong. But I think that's just me. But mind you, a lot of lagers do have a little bit of sweetness come through, so it's not completely out of the ordinary. But it's got that sort of like musty musk, a musty musk. Yeah, you can't really elaborate too much about the smell of a lager unless there's something distinct about it or if there's a massive problem with it. It's just a very set amount of flavour notes you can get from a lager. But it smells good, it smells inviting, and it smells so far like a very good attempt at the style. So without any further ado, let's give it a taste. Cheers. There is something about it. There is something about it. But it's not enough to stop me from enjoying it. There's this, it's a slight sickly sweet flavour, but it's a very subtle hint. I wouldn't go so far as to say buttery, but there is just something ever so slightly off about the beer itself. But aside from that, does everything you want a Helles lager to do. Lovely crisp body to it. Like with most Helles lagers that I find, that sort of like differentiate themselves as a Helles lager, it's just a little bit more oomph than just a regularly brewed lager. Although, if you were to go into the distinctions of the variations of what a lager is, you probably wouldn't find too much. But, you know, classic example of a Helles lager, Augustina, lager beer hell. Even this teddy bear's sick of me going on about how much I love that beer. It tastes a little bit different compared to other lagers that don't label themselves as Helles lagers. I find Helles lagers have a little bit more boldness to them. A little bit more of like a ever so slight sweet earthiness. And they've nailed it with this. It's for its ABV, it's got a beautiful mouthfeel. That sort of like musky hop character, a little bit earthy, very subtle hints of spice come through. And to be honest, the more it's actually breathing in the glass, the less I'm picking up on that flavour that I initially got. But again, that could just be because someone said that and it's always in the back of my mind. But you know what? I've had some really good craft lagers recently, and this is up there with them. I mean, of course, Azvex have got that big buzz about them because of the fact, you know, that it's people from the Untappd, another fantastic brewery. And like most new breweries nowadays, what do they become? Or what do they... See, that's it. You don't want to say what do they strive to be, because you don't know what the intentions were of the brewers and the owners. But, yeah, you can see it with breweries like Sure Shot. Great brewing, like, credentials. One of the OGs of the, you know, the sort of the craft beer scene with James. But to get a foothold in a very competitive market, you have to churn out what's the biggest sellers and what's popular at the time, which, lo and behold, are hazy pales, hazy IPAs, hazy double IPAs, the odd cheeky tipper, sorry Rob, or quipper, doubly sorry Rob. And that's just what the market goes to, doesn't it, really? So Azvex, I found, were bringing out, you know, these big juice bombs. Then, of course, really good imperial stouts. I've got a can, which I'm going to do a review of at some point. I've gone from having no big beers like barley wines and imperial stouts to having like a nice little selection, which it's just finding the right opportunity to actually drink them. But I get so happy as a beer drinker when breweries like this can churn out a high quality lager. And this is that. It really, really is. The more I'm drinking it, the more I'm enjoying it. And I think a lot of the UK craft breweries, because lager was, for the longest time, a dirty word. But then you had sort of like breweries like Cloudwater who were churning out their Hellers, which was just constantly evolving, constantly improving, taking feedback and changing it without completely changing the recipe completely. I'd say Cloudwater's Hellers Lager is one of the best UK brewed Hellers Lagers. And then of course you've got breweries who specialise in that, like Lost and Grounded, Don Zoco, New Barnes. And I've got to say, at one point, when I would buy a craft lager, a lot of breweries would just throw all of these big fruity hops into it to make a hoppy craft lager. And a lot of the times it didn't work because the actual lager itself, the body, just wouldn't hold those hops. So a lot of the time you'd get these sort of like really, I'm going off on a tangent, I know, but I've been in the house on my own all day. I've had no one to talk to. I'm like a bored, lonely housewife. Although I'm not seeing anyone, which is par for the course, really, isn't it? I don't even know what I was talking about. Yeah, like these hoppy, like craft lagers, which I don't mind. I mean, Track, I've been doing some really interesting lagers, like hopping them aggressively with well, not aggressively, just the right amount of Citra and things like that. But a lot of the time, you get a hoppy craft lager, you drink it, and it just tastes like the most thin-bodied, perfumey, dishwatery pale ale or IPA, when they've gone to the effort of brewing a lager. Just release the lager. And I'm glad to see that 9 times out of 10, when a craft brewery brings out, I mean, Deya's lagers are really good. Yeah, it's just, I'm so glad to see breweries really up in their lager game to fantastic results. And I'm glad to see that not only the brewers, I mean, this is an outdated conversation anyway, because we've been having really great lagers for a few years now. But it's great to see that even the most snootiest, pretentious, twattish craft beer drinker is actually championing one of the greatest styles you can get in beer, for me personally. And they're doing the traditions justice, but at the same time, they're putting twists on it. They're doing something contemporary and producing high quality lagers. And yeah, this is definitely one, and I'm really enjoying this. Lovely stuff. So yeah, that was Slow Gear by Azvex. Hellas Lager, 4.8% ABV. Lovely stuff. I could happily just spend an evening drinking a few cans of this and not getting bored of it. And yeah, Azvex, a fantastic brewery. Really sort of showing not only the country but the brewing world that Liverpool and Merseyside, although I would say they are still maybe a couple of years behind other, you know, established sort of craft beer cities, you know, like your Bristols, Manchester, London. I think with what's going on and with the new places opening up and getting some really great beers in the most unassuming pubs and bars, and it's just really great to see. And Liverpool admittedly was a city that I would just neglect because I'd be more interested going into Manchester for having a bit of a day out and a drink, when it's a bit cheaper, it's quicker, and yeah, and a massive sort of like component, that's not the right word, was Adam from Mersey Beers. Do you know what I mean? And he's changed my life, and my life will never be the same again. And if he leaves me or cuts me out of his life, then Mr. Huggles over here is going to fucking find him. I know where he lives, so I'll tell Mr. Huggles where to go. He'll find him, and he'll give him a good seeing to. But anyway, my fantasies aside, Slow Gear by Azvex, lovely beer, and yeah. Aside from a very minor off note, I think that's a damn fine lager, which I would happily drink again. So if you have tried it, let me know your thoughts, opinions down below. Are you a fan of Azvex? What have been your favourite beers that you've tried? And yeah, cheers for watching. You all take care, stay safe, and that's another 20-minute video. See you later.